So let's talk about the middle class. If you're in it, you're part of a system that millions of people are in, but very few of us actually understand how it works. Well, today, we're not just going to pull back the curtain. We're giving you the actual blueprint to escape it. And here's the really wild part. That same personal escape plan? It's the exact blueprint that builds wealthy societies. Let's dive in. I mean, just look at this. Does this hamster wheel feel a little too familiar? You're running, you're working hard, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and maybe, just maybe, you get that tiny raise each year. But are you actually getting anywhere? Nope. The faster you run, the faster the wheel spins. And you know what? That's not a bug. It's a core feature of the whole system, designed to keep you right where you are.
And this number, 1 to 2 months, this is the cold hard reality for most people in the middle class. That's it. That's how long they could actually survive financially if their income just stopped. Today. It really shows you just how thin the ice is under that supposedly comfortable life.
So let's just call it what it is, the middle class trap. And it is so important to understand that this is not about blaming yourself. It's a system. The walls are padded with just enough comfort, a decent salary, a couple of vacations, to make you feel safe. But the real reason for those padded walls, it's to keep you productive enough to keep the system going, but never, ever free enough to actually leave it.
And this right here, this quote captures the real danger of it all. See, poverty is loud. It screams at you. It forces you to take action. But the middle-class trap? It's quiet. It's not some five-alarm fire. It's more like a low-grade, simmering comfort that slowly, almost without you noticing, just drains your ambition. It makes you forget what you're really capable of.
But here's the good news. That quiet trap has an escape hatch. And escaping isn't about running faster on that same old wheel. It's about dismantling the wheel entirely and building a brand new vehicle. It all starts with a huge shift in your mindset, which then becomes the engine for the machine you're going to build to get real freedom.
This is the very first choice you have to make. Are you playing defense with a security mindset where every single decision is about what's safe and preventing loss? Or are you going to switch to a risk mindset and start playing offense? That's when you stop making choices based on the fear of what you might lose, and you start making them based on the vision of where you want to go.
Okay, so how do you actually put that risk mindset into action? It's not some vague idea. It's a very real 3-step process. First, you have to be brutally honest with yourself and just admit you're in the trap. Second, you start getting the tools to break out, what we call high-income skills. And third, you use those skills to build your very first profit-making machine. So what are these high-income skills? Well, we're talking about things like sales, marketing, writing copy that actually convinces people, coding, designing great products. You get the idea. Now, what do they all have in common? They are rare, they are in demand, and most importantly, they're scalable. These skills completely sever the link that traps the middle class, the direct trade of your time for money. When you can deliver value that isn't tied to the hours you put in, your earning potential just becomes uncapped. Now, building that profit machine, that is a huge step. But believe it or not, it's only the beginning. Creating a business that makes money gives you an engine. But an engine by itself isn't a vehicle, right? The real goal here is to use that engine to build a completely separate system. A system designed for just one thing: creating and protecting your wealth for the long haul.
And this slide right here highlights a super critical distinction that most people miss. Making money and building wealth are two completely different games. Your business makes you money, but it's your system that builds and protects your wealth. That's the thing that makes your freedom permanent. And here's exactly how that works. Your business, that profit machine you build, that's your active income generator. Think of it like a powerful faucet for cash flow. But here's the key. You don't live off that raw cash. Instead, you systematically move that cash into your wealth system, into assets like stocks, real estate, other investments, things that grow and make money all on their own, completely separate from your daily work.
This 2-part system does 2 crucial things for you. First, you build a safety net. This is your defense. This makes sure you can never, ever fall back into that old trap. But at the exact same time, you're building a catapult. This is your offense. These are the investments and assets that are going to launch you forward. You're protecting your downside while totally maximizing your upside. It's brilliant.
And this is the end goal. This is the whole point. You move from the life on the left, where every decision you make is filtered through the lens of your next paycheck,
to the life on the right where your entire lifestyle is paid for by your assets. Money is no longer the main thing driving your choices about how you live, what you work on, or where you spend your time. That is what real freedom looks like.
Okay, so we've built this system for personal freedom. What happens when you scale this idea all the way to the top? Now we're getting into the billionaire's playbook. Let's take a look at the common paths that have created the world's biggest fortunes. This is the highest level of the game.
First off, let's just shatter a really common myth right now. Take a look at this chart. The vast majority of billionaires, 2/3 of them, are self-made. They didn't start with some 9-figure trust fund. That fact alone should just flip a switch in your mind. It means that creating massive wealth is not about your family tree. It's a learnable, repeatable process. And that process usually follows one of these well-worn paths to the top of the mountain. You can start a high-growth business from nothing. You can own a huge piece of one that's already taking off. You can pioneer a new technology that changes everything. You can leverage fame into a massive business. Or you can just become a master at long-term investing. Let's look at a couple of the most powerful ones.
So this is the classic founder's path. Think about Howard Schultz and Starbucks. He didn't just have a good idea for a coffee shop. He had the vision and, maybe more importantly, the sheer persistence to just relentlessly reinvest and scale that one idea for decades. That's how a little Seattle chain becomes a global empire.
And then there's the incredible power of ownership. Most people think Apple is what made Steve Jobs a billionaire, but it was actually his majority stake in Pixar. And this is a perfect example of leverage. He owned the machine, the company, that created all this incredible value. By doing that, he captured the upside from the amazing work of hundreds of talented artists and creators. That is the power of ownership.
But historically, the single most powerful path to building the biggest fortunes has always been this: pioneering a new technology. I mean, from Rockefeller's oil empire to Musk's electric cars and rockets, the greatest wealth has always been captured by the people who ride the massive wave of a new world-changing industry. And there's always a new wave on the horizon. All right, now let's zoom out. We've seen the blueprint for how an individual can build wealth. But how does this scale up to create a rich city? Well, the amazing thing is, the principles are almost exactly the same. It's just about applying them on a much bigger societal level. So the number one rule is this, and it's not even debatable. A rich city is not built on gold or oil or having a nice port. It's built on people. Specifically, it's built on a high concentration of ambitious, educated, driven people who are just hungry to build things and create value. Human talent is the ultimate resource. It's not even close. And there's really no better case study for this than Silicon Valley. It started out as just farmland. But way back in the 1930s, Stanford University made a very deliberate choice. They encouraged their best and brightest to stay put and build their companies right there, locally. That decision lit a spark. Then, when early success stories like Hewlett-Packard popped up, it attracted more engineers. And that, in turn, created this powerful network effect, which eventually turned the whole region into a global magnet for the world's most ambitious minds. So you see, a rich city isn't really built, it's ignited. It's a chain reaction. It starts with the individual decisions of thousands of ambitious people all choosing to build their futures in the same place. That critical mass of talent then kicks off this cascade of capital, innovation, and eventually global influence and wealth. So we've laid out the whole blueprint from that first tiny mindset shift all the way to creating a thriving city. We've seen how personal ambition, when you cluster it together, actually builds a rich society. So the final question isn't just about what you learned. It's about what you're going to build. You have the individual plan now. The question is, how will you use it to contribute to building a richer society for everyone?